So let me share with our viewers that we are part of the Unbox Youth Empowerment Initiative. Our aim is to help the student, the youth, the school students, the college students, and the youth to build their confidence, to reduce their stress, to improve their performance in academics and in every sphere, and of course, to reduce suicides. All this we are doing through various initiatives at schools, at colleges, online, offline, and we want everybody to be happy, healthy, and also perform their best wherever they are. And today we have a very, very interesting discussion. So let me ask Bama first to give a short introduction of herself, and then we'll proceed with the introduction of Deepika. Over to you, Bama.
All right. Thank you so much, Riyaz. Thank you for having me, and good to connect with you as well, Deepika. Hi, viewers. My name is Bama Shivkumar, and I am a certified professional coach and an L&D consultant by profession, and a biker by passion. So I think I'll just keep it short and sweet with that, Riyaz. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good to have you on the show. Deepika, a short introduction from you.
Yeah, so I don multiple hats, and if I have to put all of them into two broad categories, I'm a learning and development specialist as well, a coach and a corporate trainer, and I'm a communications expert, but that can be slightly deceptive. I am a PR and corporate communications professional. I'm also an anchor, moderator, theater person, voiceover artist, and a content writer.
Fantastic. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining in today. And we have some viewers already online. I would like to just ask them to type in their names and where they're joining in from, and we can welcome them one by one as they keep coming on. Hello to all the viewers. So let us begin our today's talk. Let me ask Bama, what can our viewers expect today from the discussion?
Okay. So I just feel that the reason that people are logging in is probably because, or even intrigued or curious to log on and come up to watch the show, is because I'm presuming that it's not because of my professional background. It is more because of the background that they see me as a biker, which is a little rare in terms of a woman riding a bike, and with that too a Royal Enfield bike, and that's something which makes me interesting as well. So yeah, we can look at some of my trials, tribulations of life, and a little bit of mirch and masala here and there on how I have been living my life. So that's what I would, and I'm looking forward to questions so that I can answer them exactly as they want.
Fantastic. Yeah, I had did a lot of biking, but that was mostly to the markets and back, not as an adventure. So I'm really looking forward to hear from you about your biking adventures and how it all started. And before we go ahead, we have Vijay Anand. Hello, Vijay. Wilson. Hello, Wilson. Good to have you here, both from Hyderabad. Thank you for joining in. Over to you, Deepika. What can our audience expect today from the discussion?
So, in line with the topic, my life is, my profession, the lines between what I'm passionate about, which used to be only hobbies at one point, and the things that I do for my profession, as I go ahead with life, the lines are blurring. Earlier, I used to put pressure on myself to sort of choose one or two. Now I have found increasingly ways to bring all the things that I'm passionate about and good at, together. So I think that, as well as I think just hobbies for the sake of hobbies, is also something I would like to talk about.
Fantastic. Thank you, Deepika. So what we have seen during this last 1.5 years of this being locked down inside our homes is a lot of people develop new hobbies which otherwise they won't have. And people who already had hobbies use this time to actually build upon it, refine, get better. And every stress management expert kept telling people otherwise before this pandemic started that, invest in hobbies. But ultimately, it is this hobbies which actually help people to stay away from stress and keep themselves sane when you could do nothing except sit at home and pursue your hobbies. I think it's a good learning. So let's welcome few more guests who have joined. Srivatsa, hello, welcome. Seema, hello, welcome. And Rekha, thank you for joining in. Please stay tuned and keep posting your observations, your questions, because we have two lovely panelists here who are into adventure of life, and they'll be glad to answer your questions as we keep posting it to them. So let's
Hi to
start with
everyone who's come.
Hello,
our
everybody. Thank you for
discussion.
joining in.
Thank you, thank you. Our discussion will be in two parts. The first part we are going to have how the in the younger days the hobbies help us, and in the second part how the hobbies and these passions help us in the when we are grown up and we tend to lose track of our hobbies and get busy with our jobs or family life. So let's begin with the first part, that is how do hobbies help us become better when we're young, maybe as a school student, as a college student? Let me start with you, Deepika. Can you just tell me how was your experience in the younger days as regards this whole aspect about passion, hobbies, and can you just throw some light on it?
Yes. So, there are lots of things I could say, but for the sake of, bringing some value to this conversation, I try to narrow it down to three things that I really liked about having hobbies as a child. One is I was exposed to a wide variety of activities, ranging from your more obvious things like music, dance, different kinds of sport, to the slightly less obvious things like maybe embroidery, carpentry, adventure sport, things like that. So it gave me the view that there is so much more to life than what meets the eye. So keep looking. I think the second thing is that it teaches you that it taught me that uh, all of us, like I individually and the people that I was interacting with through school or through hobby classes, that we are all good at some things, we are not good at some things. There's no need to feel bad if we are not good at some things. Draw confidence from what we are good at and see if there are challenges that you can overcome in places you think that you're not good at. No need to feel dejected. That was the second good thing I think it did. The third one, I thought some of the parents and students might find it interesting. I really liked that my parents and grandparents had hobbies. It taught me two things. One is that every individual is responsible to a large extent for their own happiness. That's one. And the second thing is it taught me independence. That learn to be dependent on yourself also, and give others also their space to grow.
Wow, that's so interesting and short and crisp. So what we are discussing right now is the first part, that is how do hobbies and passions help us in youth when we are young. So what you are actually saying is that having lots of hobbies or passions is good. And another point which usually comes up is, see, a lot of children don't have control over their own lives. So it's the parents who are actually telling them, you can read now or you cannot read now, you can play now, you cannot play now. So what is your message to the parents? Like, should parents invest in hobbies, or they should say, no, you have to get into IIT and keep studying 24 hours? What is it like?
I do think parents should invest in hobbies for themselves also and their children also.
Wow.
Possible their parents also.
So that's so interesting because you're saying that. Go ahead, go ahead.
I just want to add that I know, and like I often say, being kind to all parents is being kind to my own parents also. That I know that parents want their children to excel, and academics has been the sure shot. It is the more known devil, right? It's the known route.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but I'd like to say that when we're happy and when we get happiness from some other place, the endorphins that are released in the brain also help us absorb what we are learning better, even sometimes if it's something we don't like. So
Yeah.
that's some
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's very
yeah.
interesting. So let's ask Bama, how was your experience as a child as far as this whole aspect about extracurricular activities, hobbies, passions? How was it like in your
Um,
younger days?
at the cost of hurting and irritating my parents, I used to always be in outdoors, and I don't. I felt at that time that I was a rebel, a tomboy, or that kind initially. But I'll share this quick story. First of all, I completely resonate what Deepika mentioned, and the way it has shaped me as a person, not just in my young days, but also today what I am. The kind of resilience that I have, I owe it to my hobbies and the passions, and which has resurfaced and energized my life. So I failed in my 12th standard, and because I took up my science stream, which was the only thing that showed that you are a average and above average student, nothing talking about brilliancy. But somehow I failed, and that led me to a deep depression. That I had suicidal thoughts. I had almost 3 months wherein and like I this is a generation where I talk about where parents also feel the pressure of their children failing. It was not just about the person or me as an individual who failed. It was as a family. They felt that they were responsible for my failure. And the society also thought, oh my God, iske ghar mein, she has failed, the daughter has failed. So that kind of a stigma was attached, and which led to a lot of rejections. I've had my friends not even coming and talking to me and looking at me. So that led to a lot of depression within myself. I felt that I've let down the whole family, the whole society as such, just by even though it was not my mistake. And that, as a young person, I had suicidal thoughts. I even tried to jump off my flat. And during all these things, the only thing that kept me alive was I used to play badminton, I used to swim, and I also had I used to ride scooters. So at times, all I felt is that I should just take out the scooter, go on a ride, and then feel the wind on my face. And that helped me survive the mental depression, the emotional trauma that I was going through. And that made me realize that during the 10th, 11th, and 12th, I was constantly focusing on academics, and forgot all about these hobbies and passions. And then at the end of the day, when the academics was not going very well, I had the hobbies and passion to fall back on and get back my life on track. And that helped me. And I would also want to mention one more thing as a hobby or a passion, which I started off when I was in my 10th standard, was shorthand and typing. So it was very natural, for all the kids. The moment you are out of 10th, the typing class chale or typing seekh lo. So when I started doing that, then I got back that as my fallback. And I very proudly say that at almost 19ish, 20, because of my shorthand and typing, I joined income tax office. I topped the western region in my staff selection examinations in written test, and also I was fourth in the country in staff selection examination. I got posted in income tax, wherein then I felt that the hobbies helped me. So let me stick with my hobby, and I started playing badminton professionally as well. So yeah, that's my story. And I don't know how I did it. I wouldn't have managed without having my hobbies as a fallback. So there.
Wow, that's such an inspiring story. Like from failure to grand success and all that happening within a span of 2-3 years, and how actually hobbies have helped you to really. So we can say passion is a cushion, right?
Yes.
Passion is a cushion when everything else, nothing else is working for you. Maybe that helps you. And the second thing which I can derive from whatever you told me is that passion helps you create passion for life. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
And what I gather from both your stories is usually, so let me ask you this question, any one of you can answer. So usually for parents and maybe even teachers and the general society, the hobbies and extracurricular activities, extra. It's a kind of a side dish and not the main dish. And so wait, before I ask you to answer, let me just take all the people who have joined in. Follow me. Deepa, thank you for joining in. Vandana, thank you. Shilpa, Sheetal, Vijay, Vandana, thank you for your lovely comments, and thank you for joining in. Stick around. We are going to have lovely conversation and great ideas flowing in. So what do you say? Is a hobby something like side dish, main dish? What do you call it? Extracurricular? What do you call this?
Can I first comment on your metaphor, Riaz? You know, I love that metaphor, right? From the time you shared it, and I think so. Riaz, in our conversations, I have to tell all our audience this. One of the first things he said is that, you know, hobbies are not a side dish; they are the main. They are a main dish, and I completely resonate with that, because just like we need a balanced diet for the body, I think hobbies are a very integral part of a balanced diet for the mind and the personality. I also want to sort of answer your question by adding to what Bama said, which is that, you know, we all have this cyclical sort of performance. You know, whenever our growth is never flat, because flat line is only when we are not breathing anymore, right?
Alive.
As long as we're alive and kicking, the graph is always up and down. And it's always nice to know that that there are some things that can give us happiness even when there is a storm around us, even in utter chaos, right? And the reason I think, you know, especially parents must encourage it with children is that when we're children, our confidence dips very easily. When we're adults, we're still capable of bringing it up for ourselves, you know. But when we're children, the minute we fail at one subject or we didn't do well in one exam, it's important for the to be able to tell ourselves and other people to be able to say, but hey, you know, Deepu, you speak so well, you write so well, you read so much, you can converse so well, you act so well. It feels so good, right? Immediately you feel picked up, and that's exactly what used to happen to me. Whenever I had downtime on one aspect of life, my hobbies and these extracurricular activities always picked me up and kept my confidence up, and that's the case till to date.
Right. So what you're saying is that hobbies and passions actually help build your personality, give you that confidence, and in times of difficult times, they kind of pillars of strength. They provide you that pillar of strength, telling you that okay, you can do this. There's something good you can do, and which you are excellent at. You may not be even excellent; doesn't matter, but you can
Yes.
fall back on something. That's so interesting. So
Riya,
yeah, go ahead, Bama.
yeah, sorry. So I actually agree with all of you in terms of, like, you know, you're talking about dishes, side dishes, extracurricular activity. I would like to answer your question by saying how important is a hobby or passion in life, or what is the proportion that you would talk about. Is, for me, I think it's like salt. So, you know, in any dish which is savory, there has to be salt, and the right amount of salt, whether, you know, neither too excess nor too less, adds
Yeah.
the essence. You know, any dish comes alive with the fact that there is salt in it. So I would like to just rest on that, saying that for me or for anybody, it should be like that. And nothing can be neglected, or hobbies or passions should not be neglected at all. So
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So, Deepika said, balanced diet for the mind, body, and soul. That's a lovely term. And we have some lovely comments coming in. Thank you, viewers, for joining in. Please stay tuned. We're going to have some exciting stories about biking coming up sometime from Bama. And also, we'll continue with our discussion. If you have any points, queries, suggestions, please feel free to post. I'm just posting one of the comments posted by one of our viewers, Deepa. I'll just read it out for you. Posting recaps and notes for self. That's so interesting. Hobbies are not the side dish, they're main dish, a balanced diet. We have
I
emotional
told
roller
you that was
coasters.
going to be a hit, Riaz, that line.
It should be able to tell us that we have wonderful redeeming features, extracurricular activities that pick you up. So nice. Hobbies help build your personality in difficult times. These are pillars of strength, something to fall back on. That's so nice. And I think it cuts across all age groups.
And let me tell you, the lady who commented, Deepa Shailendra, who I call Deepa Auntie, she herself is an example of, you know, she's an interior designer. She's got multiple things. And she's got so many things moving in the colony where she lives, which is Senikpuri, and all of that is nothing but passion. You know, if she had stuck with the academic route, maybe all these other things she does, like reviving the Kapra Lake and all that, would not have been possible.
Definitely. I've also met this passionate person. She's instrumental in saving a lot of lakes around this area. So kudos to her. Thank you for joining in. Anyone who else who has joined in, please say hi and tell us where you're joining in from. Let's continue with the discussion. So we know that this is important. Now, how do we do it? How do parents or even let's say the students, how to encourage and get the children to, get into this whole aspect of hobbies and passions? Let's start with you, Deepika.
Okay. Number one, I would say that there is enough pressure to perform in all other areas, especially for students in the academic area. So I would say that when we're introducing somebody to a hobby, especially a child, let it be free of pressure. The pressure of performance, the pressure of excellence, the pressure of productivity. Let it be free of that. Just let them experiment. And also on the point of passions, this is very important because I had put this in my note also. Not everybody is born knowing their passion. So sometimes discovering what you're passionate about and what you like, and finding the connection maybe to something that you're studying in school between and applying it, all of these can happen while you're experimenting with other activities in life. So that's
Right. So you're saying experiment, let them experiment, expose them to different areas in life or whatever they can or whatever they like to do. So that's
yes.
a good thing. Instead of saying that I like Bharatnatyam, so my daughter will only do Bharatnatyam. Maybe she wants to do a Western dance. So, I mean, you can be flexible on that part. We have
Yeah.
a lovely comment. So let me show this to you. Vandana Gulati, she says, you have inspired me to pay more attention to my children's hobbies. That's so lovely. See, you're already inspiration. These two lovely panelists out here. Thank you for sharing your views. Yeah,
All of
Bama,
here.
what do you say? How do parents get the children into this whole aspect of hobbies, or how do they not prevent the students from going into the hobbies? कि बेटा अभी पढ़ाई करो अभी time नहीं है. That kind of thing.
Yeah, correct. So I just want to share one thing at this forum is that I've been very lucky and blessed because although my parents were focused on the academics, on what you're doing or not doing, but then they never stopped me from falling down. They never stopped me, like Deepika was mentioning about exploring and experimenting. There were phases that I was trying Carnatic music. There were phases that I was not interested in Carnatic music. I used to bunk those classes, and then there was also a time where they put me on some other. So in those days we didn't have classes. Okay, these days everything is organized. You have to put them to tennis class. You have to put them to Bharatanatyam class and so on and so forth. At that time we just had this. Everything was open. We used to run around, find what we wanted to. That was a luxury that we had. But these days, everything is organized. You're paying money to really pursue your hobbies and passions. In those days, art classes, any auntie would take art classes and have students in the evening for 1 hour. So it would hardly be like paying for them. So I think that maybe as a parent, I'm looking at one other side of it is that, Array, I'm investing so much money in your classes. I'm taking you to the tennis class for like morning, evening, and sacrificing my own time. So you might as well repay me in some way or the other. That adds a lot of pressure is what I feel. I mean, that's absolutely my take on it, definitely. So yeah, it's definitely, let them explore, let them fail, let them, we as parents, we are there to catch them if they fall or fail. But don't catch them even before, don't stop them from even trying out and failing or succeeding it. So that is something that I would say. Along with that, I would also add on, if you may allow, we as human being, and this goes across all the phrases, um, I have also realized it pretty late. There was no panel discussions which happened earlier. So there were time that you are a daughter, then you are a sister, then you're a professional, and then you are married. So automatically you take on more responsibilities in life of another set of roles where you are the wife, you are the daughter-in-law, you're like, you play multiple roles, and then you become a parent, and then you are a mother. So all these different roles that we keep on playing, we try and achieving that ideal spot, as if koi crown laga raha hai tumko ke all these roles, best daughter of the year, best mother of the year. But what I have come to realize is that when we are struggling to play all these different roles, we tend to forget ourselves. We tend to forget what you really like doing in life. So
Right,
it's
right.
across
So
board, whether
I'll just hold you there.
children.
I'll just hold you there because we're coming to that part about how hobbies and passions help us in our self-discovery as a person. But before we get to that part, let me just focus on one more part about students because this is our youth empowerment initiative. That so parents are fine with all these activities and things happening till the students are in 10th. And when the 10th or maybe 11th comes, that is the time they're pushed into school, tuition, coaching to school, maths coaching, IIT coaching, AMSET coaching, medical coaching, this coaching, that coaching. They say forget about everything, forget about breathing, don't eat, just study, 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 forget about art, paint, music. Even if the child lifts up his head from the book for a minute, he'll say, no, 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 keep looking down. So that is where the problem actually begins. And then, of course, once they pass out from the school, they're into the college, then once into the job, then it's a 12, 14-hour grind. So we tend to lose touch. That's the reality of life.
Yeah.
How to handle this phase? When should the hobbies be encouraged when students or youth are in this phase? Or what should they do?
Should I take that?
Yeah, take on.
So, it's again a tricky one. And how can you tell a parent not to aspire for their children because the parents want the best for their children? And sometimes, as children, we don't really know what's best for us. But we have to start somewhere, right? To be allowed to make our own choices. That's one. Second thing is that we have to keep in mind the number of deaths by suicide and stress that we hear of amongst both students who are preparing for these IITs as well as students who have gotten to IITs and gone there and are unable to deal with the stress. There's enough and more research in the world about this, okay, and statistics. So I would ask the question rather than saying what should or shouldn't be done. I would ask the question that what is most important to us? Is it our loved ones' well-being, or is it success? And the other idea that I would like to offer, which is something that positive psychology is proposing, is that success is one part, achievement is one part of well-being, and it is only one thing that adds to happiness. There is so much more, like positive relationships, meaning, purpose, health, so much more, right? So that is a question that I would ask. The other thing I would tell you is this is it's coming from somebody whose father, quit sailing for an entire year and sat at home with me because my mother felt that because my father is absent for half the year and I'm very close to my father, therefore my grades are not coming up to the level that they should be. It made no damn difference whether they stop. First of all, there was no stopping my activities, okay, because a child who doesn't want to focus only on studies will not. You can do anything. They will sit there and read a book within the book. So spoken from experience.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to make is that we think we know how that person's mind works just because, let me not say one might think that we gave birth to this creature, so we know how her or his mind works. But I think that's a bit too much of an assumption to make.
Yeah.
And ask the child is what I would say, what they would prefer. They will tell
Right.
you.
Right. So yeah, definitely. So what we are saying is that don't shut down the activities or hobbies or interests when the board exams are on. And I remember there was an extreme case when my daughter was doing her 10th. It was the month of February, and one of my daughter's friends was wanted to celebrate her birthday, which was somewhere around 15th of February, and the exams were starting on 1st of March. The parents wouldn't even allow her to celebrate her birthday. No, your friends will come, they'll waste 1 hour, you'll waste time cutting the cake and all that. So sit and study. So I think it's important to keep the hobbies or interest maybe the priority in terms of time allotment may change. That's okay. I mean, when the exams are on, but it cannot be take a break from your hobbies for next 4 years. It cannot be, definitely. That's, I think, definitely it's going to harm the child, and it's not going to benefit, like Deepika said, not benefit you in any way. If you put Fevicol on the seat of a child and make him sit in the chair for 24 hours and say, no, you'll sit, eat here, and just keep studying here, I think that's an overdose. And that's one more point I would like to bring here, is that so many studies have been done, both whether at Stanford, Harvard, everywhere, that actually hobbies, music, games, sports help people in performing better in maths or any of the subjects. So it's not that it's a taking away time; it's a catalyst to the mind and the brain in performance. What do you say, Bama?
Absolutely agree with both of you. And I just want to say this, because on personal front, whenever I used to study for my 10th, 11th, and 12th, or all of those times, I used to have these FM, All India Radio playing constantly. And even till late at night, I used to constantly listen to radio and never shut it out unless and until 12 o'clock, the midnight, they would shut out. I would not. And then the next day, early morning, right from 5 o'clock, when you have that, Aarti, which starts the day with Aarti in AIR, I used to start my day with that and then simultaneously study. My parents tried to, tell me that, Arey, radio mat suno, how will you focus, how will you concentrate, and all of that. But I felt that I tried that for about a week's time. I could not concentrate, and I was not doing great in my pre boards when I stopped doing that. And then when I resumed doing that, and then my parents had already given up, इसका कुछ हो नहीं सकता जो करो करो. And then I resumed it, and I did score pretty well. And this is, I don't know about any statistics or anything, but I can say that this story is really true for myself. And every now and then I used to go and have a quick swimming or maybe a badminton session with my friends, and which used to energize me to really come back and focus again on what I was doing. And I would be able to concentrate for more hours rather than just sitting and posing as if I'm studying. It used to actually go into my brain.
Very
So
nice.
that's really,
Great.
really interesting. And another added value today is that I'm called the Antakshari Queen in my circles because of this number of songs that I can belt out.
Wow.
So uh, it's made me a whole person, whatever I am, in terms of not just what we do academically or what we do as a human being, or what we are doing. We are not known only for the academic roles or professional success that we have. We are known for the reason that we are this whole person,
Whole
which we have a
personality.
character. I would
Very
say that
true. Very true.
character that people know you is not because of your position in your organization or in your office. They know you as the person that you are, and it builds character. So it's very, very vital that
Fantastic.
we
Fantastic. Yeah.
encourage them. Thank
So
you.
we have some comments coming in from the viewers. Ajit Jain says, very inspiring, Bama. And then we
Thank
have
you.
Vandana saying, completely agree. And we have Pravina saying, keep going, Bama, total respect. That's so nice.
Thank
Thank you, viewers, for being here. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please feel free, because whatever the discussions are going to be on Facebook and also YouTube for people to watch it even later. So please pour in your ideas. We want more and more people to talk about it, think about it, and also not implement it as well. And we have Wilson Rajan saying, apart from exposing our kids to multiple activities to help identify their passions, it's also important to get them into nature. Yes, 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 yes. I agree with that. And outdoors from an early age, it truly helps build a whole new perspective and personality. Yeah, I agree. Instead of just making posters, save nature
Yes.
in the classroom and at home or online, take them onto a park, onto nature, onto adventure treks. There's lots of things happening around Hyderabad. Hyderabad itself has got such lovely nature parks. I agree, going into nature. Any
Yeah.
other comments, please feel free. And we are going on to our next segment about how hobbies and passions help us as grown-ups and adults and we have a very, very exciting, interesting story coming up from Bama. So stay tuned for that. So let me put the spotlight on Bama. We're going to tell you a very, very uh, enlightening story about herself. Over to you, Bama.
Okay. So wow, the pressure is on me now, and I am going to probably when we're sharing this in the social media, it's something that as a person, in fact, the kind of, I was talking about the different roles that we play in our lives. We take the roles of parenthood and the spouse, and multiple responsibilities come on to you. And over a period of time, I used to enjoy biking, I used to enjoy riding the scooters and all of that. But then when the responsibilities started coming in, I forgot about it completely. I was like, I started out with Alvin Pushpak scooters, and then I graduated to Bajaj Super, then Bajaj Chetak. I used to ride that. And then just before my wedding, I switched to, gearless scooters like Kinetic. And then I got married, and I forgot all about bikes or geared scooters until about 13 years, 13 years into my marriage and different roles. There was a time that everything was kind of saturated in my life, and I really did not know. And whenever I used to talk to people that, I'm not happy, I'm not really enjoying doing everything. And then all my friends and colleagues and all, everyone, Array, you have everything going good in your life and you don't have any thrill happening. So that's why you're not happy, or you're not focus on something else or something. So they used to just um, push me into understanding and realizing that you have a great life, so don't screw it up now. And but I really could not manage that, and suddenly it was by luck. I met a beautiful person, a beautiful soul, Sanai Iqbal, who has had just finished her all India tour. In fact, she's a one solo rider. She went on a tour across India talking about depression and suicide not being the solution. We had a casual conversation, and then she just said that, come bike with me. And I was like, I haven't touched a bike in years. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to hold the bike with me. But she was like, Naini, you just come over. We'll see what can be done. And I had the guts again to go back and start. I went on my Activa only. And then I did that 80 kilometer plus 80, that is 160-kilometer ride on my Activa, along with people riding on all those Royal Enfield bikes. And then some of them I just begged, borrowed, and stole the bike, saying that, okay, let me try. And then when I got back on the bike, I realized that, wow, this is something I have to get back on. And then obviously there were a lot of concern from everyone that, Arey, nahi, you are old enough now. Why do you want to lift that heavy bike again? What if you fall? You might just break your bones and so on. So there were obviously a lot of concerns. Even I was concerned. But then eventually I just realized that I have to, get back. And that is what is giving me that kind of happiness, which I have not felt in years. And if I have to experiment with that and try it, I should not just let it go. So I rented a bike and went on a solo ride around the Hyderabad, and I really felt that need, that gap, and what I felt was there, or you could call it as a midlife crisis. But I just felt that filling up, and then there is no looking back. And I've been on. Of course, I'm not able to ride as much as I would love to, and I would not even claim that I'm an expert rider who can go into Leh Ladakh. I'm still, whenever I take a U-turn on my Royal Enfield, I am scared that I might just fall. But yes, whatever it is, I am back to riding. I look forward every day, every week to get on the bike somehow or the other. And that has helped me refocus, how do we put it? It's like that.
Rejuvenate.
Yes, rejuvenate, and also reboot my life, I would say.
Reboot my life.
Reboot my
Wow.
life. completely reboot my life in terms of now I know that this is something that I have to do, and I have made a bucket list of things that I want to do as Bama, along with playing the different roles that we are playing. Uh, that is something that's keeping me alive. I look forward to every day, thinking that, okay, now if I do 2 days of this, then I'm going to be like, third day, I'm going to write. And I'm going to reward myself with that passion. And then at the end of the day, I think it's all doable. It's just that you need to get out there, take that risk, leap of faith, and make sure that you figure out what you want to do. So yeah, thank you.
Right.
Long story, but yeah, thanks.
That's so inspiring, and you brought out so many interesting points in your story that the aspect about happiness, and when you get into the rut of life, maybe it's job, maybe it's family, and like you said, that we tend to lose ourselves in that whole machine. We just become a part of the machinery which is running, but who am I, who is Bama, who is Deepika, and what do you want to do? That's important, and people have expectations from you. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this, but the point is, what are your expectations from yourself? And the whole aspect about passion in living is, I think, the most important part, which I also feel that somewhere when you're around 35, 40, 45, you get into a groove and you forget about everything else. You're only running from alarm clock to sleep time,
Yeah.
and somewhere in between you tend to forget. And this, what you said, rebooting, rejuvenating, and refreshing is, I think, the key point which you have brought out, and really inspiring story. I'm sure you haven't fallen off from your bike yet, and you won't. And that's the risk you got to take. And yeah. And the second point is, there's no age. You can only ride a bike when you're from 16 to 19 or 18 to 24. And after that, you come down to scooty, and after that, you just sit in a car as a passenger. So, what do you say,
Yeah,
Deepika?
so no, I wanted to say, when you spoke about falling. So I'm a long time biker, as in two wheeler, so to speak. But I recently trained. My new hobby for 2020 was actually motorcycling on a Royal Enfield too. So, which
Wow.
is another reason I'm happy to be on this panel with Bama, another biker. But I was going to say that I have been told by experienced bikers that there are only two kinds of bikers: one that have fallen and one that are yet to fall. So वो तो रिस्क लेना ही पड़ेगा, मतलब चलते चलते भी हो सकता है, but so
Riyaz,
yeah.
just
Right.
to clarify, sorry, Deepika, I have fallen. I have fallen.
Okay. But you're still here on the program. So that means whatever things might have got damaged, you're absolutely fine, and your body is strong enough to cope with that, and it makes you mentally stronger also and happier. So let me just take a few comments which have come from our viewers. This must be either from Suma or Sabina. Interesting point about saturation in life. Not many take the route that Bama took. Many would just let it overwhelm them and exist instead of living. That's so true. That's so true.
Thank you.
So we
In
do get,
fact,
yeah,
sorry. Yeah. No,
go ahead.
the point that Bama made, about finding yourself, losing yourself versus finding yourself. That's exactly what I meant
Wow.
earlier on when I said, um, that your happiness, one of the things that you learn from hobbies is that primarily individuals, we are responsible for our own happiness, and very often by finding ways to find our own happiness despite whatever is happening around us, we also ease the pressure on our loved ones, whether as
Wow.
children or as adults. We ease the pressure on other people to make us happy.
Wow. So you've given two lovely points. Just let me reiterate that so that we don't miss out. So one is when you lose yourself in the rut of life, you find yourself through your passions and hobbies. So that's a beautiful point. The
Amazing.
second point is, when you get into your hobbies and passions, you are happy. That happiness radiates onto your children, your parents, your spouses, even your colleagues. We walk into a Monday morning happy that you've done a great adventure on a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So everybody around you is happy and you're radiating that. But the reverse also happens. If you're morose and sad and grumpy on a Monday morning, ओहो बॉस की आज लड़ाई हुई है संडे को घर पे, तो आज मतलब सबको पढ़ने वाली. So that's how it works. So let me share a few
Yeah.
more comments which have come from Seema. She says, very inspiring, Bama. And then Sheetal, she says, never give up, keep going. That's very nice.
Thank you,
And
Sheetal.
Deepa says, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story. And Suma says, risk hai to ishq hai. That's
Absolutely true,
lovely.
Suma.
That's lovely.
Making love is also a huge risk.
Absolutely, Deepika. You have to find your own happiness. Yeah, you have to find your own happiness. Yeah, as an adult, yeah, that's another important point. I find a lot of adults still blaming their parents. मेरे parents ने ये नहीं किया. I think 20 years is the expiry date for blaming your parents. Once you cross 20, stop blaming your parents for anything. For each and everything. School नहीं भेजा, मुझे English नहीं पढ़ाया. Somebody says my diabetes is because of my mother and all that. Stop blaming your parents. Get on with your life. And Sabina says, true, my biker husband has fall early during his biker journey. I
Actually,
hope
it
he's
is अच्छा है.
okay. Oh, right. So,
Actually, on
go
the
ahead,
point of
Deepika.
on the point of falling, when Sabina shared that point about falling, see, today we are talking about resilience. The whole world, the entire corporate world is buzzing with the word resilience. And one of the things that hobbies can teach you early on. So, even, and this is not just hobbies. So, some people may not be so good at academics, some people may not be good at extracurricular activities. So, just as hobbies can give you confidence, right? You draw confidence from different things. You also learn that it is okay to not be good at certain things, to fail at certain things, and pick yourself up and move on, bhai. So that
Yeah.
also is there. Yeah.
Lovely.
And I do want to add this from my own experience, that of about the pressure of performance. So there are two examples I wanted to share. When I was a kid, I was put in painting classes. It's common amongst many other things, and music classes. Now, music classes I was good at, and everybody said, "Oh, Deepu, you're very good with music and all that." But I did not like the traditional music teachers, so I kind of left it. But everybody reiterated that I was good at it. So many years later, I went after music myself, because somewhere in my head it stuck that I was good at it, even though I didn't pursue it and become a performer. With painting, in one painting competition, out of all the paintings that I did, in one painting competition, I was sitting next to my cousin who's about 6 years younger than me. And she is a Turum Khan in painting and creative work. Okay. So if fatafat in like half an hour, she painted something like at a genius level, submitted it, won the prize, the competition is over. I'm still sitting and painting, and it was definitely a horrible. But the thing is, somebody came and made it a point to tell me that this is what is this? This girl who's younger than you, just look at her painting and look at you. What have you made itna time laga ke? To date, I will shudder to put a paintbrush to her, or do any rangoli or anything, because somewhere it sat in my head. Of course, now I'm breaking that, but so long it sat in my head. And I wanted to share this as an example of how, as if you want to expose people to hobbies for the sake of exploration, remove the pressure of performance, they
Yeah.
will go back
Yeah.
to what they like automatically.
Very true. You brought up
Beautiful.
some very, very interesting points. One is that, see, when you go on to see, everything is so competitive in the world, right from the time you are born. So now we have coding classes from age 6 onwards, white hat, or there's some company which is telling that kids as low as 6 can start coding. So the point is, everything is so competitive. So hobbies, passions, interests, these are the areas where you can go without any kind of competition. You're just trying, you do it for the joy of it. As a child, as an adult, so you're not comparing with anybody. You're not, there's no winner, there's no runners up. You are a winner the moment you start doing it. That's so interesting. So let us take a few more comments, and let's see this. Wilson, a way to unbox and untie oneself, finds one true self, is to get back to our passions, to get back to things that excite us. That's so important. Excitement. Don't die with your dreams. Dare to fulfill them, and never too early, never too late. That's such a lovely quotation. Never too early for anything, never too late for anything. Yeah. So people say midlife crisis. Don't call it midlife. Say that you're just born and continue. You're
Reborn.
born every day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, so you're born every day. So that's the way to look at life.
Yeah.
Dr. Prithviraj says the way we feed our souls is equal to hobbies. So yeah, that's very important. So don't wait for your retirement. Once I retire at 60, then I'll go to a park, do laughter yoga, laugh today. By then, maybe you may
Yeah.
not be able to laugh. Okay, finding one's own mojo is important. Academics don't define us. Very true. So very true.
Yeah.
So how are you? So let's kind of distill all your thoughts. How have your hobbies helped you in your well-being? How does it help, Bama?
Um, yeah, so let me go. So I was talking about the early on sports that we used to play, which did not have any, competition or anything. Langdi dang khelte the. I don't know Hindi mein. After that, English, I don't know about langdi dang. So we used to play these street
Broken
hockeys.
leg.
What do you say that?
Broken leg. I'm just saying.
Okay, broken leg.
There is no equivalent word.
There is no Hindi word to it, right? And then we used to play these every evening. In my childhood, I used to literally play with the boys because the girls would be very too don't want to get themselves dirty in the mud, and I was all over. So we used to play these street hockey. We used to play these football with the guys, and I used to constantly have all my injuries across my knees. Every time it used to be bruised. And what that has taught me is that we used to lose, we used to win, we never used to care. So long as we had our 1.5 hour of adrenaline rush playing these sports. So that also gave me this perspective today that it is okay to fail. It is okay, like Deepika was mentioning, it's okay to not be the best painter in the world. I love painting, bhai. I just want to do it. I love playing. I
Yeah,
just want to do it. There is nobody. And also adding on to this is that my competition is with myself. Where I was
yeah,
5 days ago, where I was 5 years ago, where I am today, where I want to be tomorrow. Somebody will always be better than me. Somebody will always be worse than me. I choose my mood. If today I am very happy, I will see people who are not as successful as I am. And if my mood is grumpy, I want to be look at everybody who is more successful than I am. So it has taught me that sportsmanship, which I carry with me today, and I feel that that is the added value that I have, which I see lacking in a lot of people who just don't know what to do with their free time, and the
yeah,
social media glued onto the phones and looking at. Yes, I cannot depreciate the value of social media. We are on social media today, but I'm just saying that so many people are not going outdoors, not doing anything. Until COVID arrived, a lot of people did not even know what they wanted to do apart from their work life, and the
right.
commute and the traffic, that we are literally going on war every day and coming back winning or losing. So these are my thoughts, Riaz. I just hope I've
Yeah.
summarized it.
So
Thank you.
it's definitely a tough life. It's a big grind for people who are in their jobs. So whichever stage of life you are. But I think we need to. It's an investment, no. The
Yeah.
investment is just not in stocks and shares. I think these things are investment. Like Deepika said that, when you're in a childhood, your parents invested in you learning music, and that seed was there in your mind, which became a plant now later, much later in life. So it's an investment which may come up at some point in your life and help you out in times of need. So what would you say, Deepika? So let me pose one question to you. How would it help parents and the children? So what do you tell the parents you who are there is a term called helicopter parenting, where parents are all the time, trying to guide and manage the children with a joystick. So how would hobbies help the parents themselves in this whole thing?
Yeah, so I'll answer this question. Like I always feel I'm no one to tell a parent, how to do, what to do, and all of that. But I'll answer it picking up from your point of investment. So with me, for example, so all these hobbies that I was introduced to, activities I was introduced to, was an investment that my parents made in me. Many years later in life, like I said, life has its ups and downs. There was a particular period in my life, which was, a almost 3 to 5 year period, where I was really reflecting on some of the choices that I made. I had some painful experiences. I moved back to Hyderabad to be close to my parents, but I was very certain of the fact that I was not going to be able to find the answers to my questions or find my happiness and my life back again by staying with my parents. So I think the investment they made both for themselves and for me was that in one of the most difficult phases of my life, I used to pack my day, morning exercise, then go to a theater workshop. I think I did 2 3 theater workshops in a span of 2 years. Then pick up a new hobby every year. Either it was salsa dancing or it was weaving. Then it was scuba diving, something new. And what these did is, one, they kept me upbeat. They kept my body's endorphins coming. Okay. Two, they enabled me to spend a lot of time with myself and be dependent on myself, or find ways where I can find happiness for myself and be with myself to reflect on what to do with these experiences. And because I was able to, I was able to sort of find joy in these experiences, I also started looking at everything, including setbacks in life, as a gift. Because I
Wow.
started seeing that if this setback hadn't happened, I may not have given myself such a strict routine of different activities apart from going to work and coming back. And maybe I would not have found myself the way I did. And it was after those 3 years that I decided to quit work, bring together my different passions, and set out independently. And the anchoring hat, which became very popular for me, starting 2016, was a product of coming back to Hyderabad and getting back in touch with all the hobbies that I was introduced to as a child, which gave me joy. So
That's so nice.
if I have to summarize that in one line, one of the ways, I'm not saying it's the only way, but one of the ways I think an individual, a child, can be taught to get out of the hole that they might fall into sometimes by themselves is to give them tools to find happiness in other ways. They could be
Wow.
hobbies.
So it's a
Wow.
tool. That's so nice. In fact,
So profound, Deepika.
uh, before I
Yeah.
actually met you, Deepika, you were already a celebrity. I'd seen you on so many posters and so many places. And it is actually that which actually, the glow which I see on your faces today is definitely not due to ponds or any of this stuff. It is due the energy which you are radiating. The energy which you are radiating today is the joy which you have developed within yourself, and it is this joy which you are sharing, I'm sure, which is going to inspire a lot of people. And so let's take this comment from our viewers. Just a minute. So Suma says, awesome, Deepika. And let's take Suma says, and I'm a classical helicopter parent. I involved in my son hobbies, gave him a glimpse of my world. That made him explore and find your own passion. Yeah, which is fine. So some bit of helicoptering is fine, but you should not be in. You should not become a drone. Rather, I think.
That is profound, because droning is also nagging, right?
Very true.
That's profound.
Sangeeta says investment in self is the biggest asset gift one can create for self. Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. Let me just take one more comment. It's come from Dr. Prithvi. Parents are never against hobbies or the stuff they love. Some parents just go on and some say no because children might get misguided. But I think one crosses 16, parents should give green signal to pursue and encourage the hobbies that will help them in career by making them strong in learning ways to figure out even like get out of a black. Yeah, it is so true. Parents are there as guides. It's not that just leave the kids totally on their own. You can always be there as a guide, as a coach, as a sarthi. That's the right word. To help them to discover so many things. Absolutely. We have so many other viewers coming up, and Stay tuned. We are going to have some more interesting discussion. Mr. Iyer says, super, Bama, keep it up. So, any other questions you have, any suggestions you have for our panelists, please feel free to share. So, before we go ahead, so would you like to talk about how the bikers movement has touched the lives of students? Because we also are youth empowerment initiative, this whole thing which we are doing, through which we help the students to build confidence and reduce suicides. So, can you just share that part of your venture, Bama?
Thank you so much, Riyaz. I've been dying to talk about it, although I'm not doing too much on that space. I was referring to Sana Iqbal, but Sana is no more with us. She met with an accident in 2017 and she passed away. So I'm a part of Wanderer Bulleters of Hyderabad Club. And what we try and do as a collective team is bike with some kind of a cause, although it is entertaining and we do enjoy ourselves, but we also make sure that we are creating some kind of an awareness. So I recently tried to do bike to different colleges, because when people see a biker moving on to a college, then there is a sense of excitement, and that to a lady biker coming to a college is like, it's a heightened excitement. So when we speak, people do listen to us, even if the attention span is less. The young generation, especially with girls, young girls, they listen to us, and I just try and create awareness that please identify the signs of depression. Do not feel judgy about anyone who is sharing those signs of depression. Um, if somebody tells you that, I am feeling suicidal, please don't say, tell them, Are, come out of it, snap out of it. It is not in their control. The way when we talk about fever, or the way when we talk about body pains, people treat or go to the doctor. Why don't you go to a doctor? Why don't you take this medicine? Depression is equally as much as a feeling, or as much as an ailment which is not in your control. Do you go and tell people that, "Arey, kahan se fever leke aaye?" Today they might possibly say that, "Kahan se COVID leke aaye ho?" But depression is not something that you can pick up. It's not a virus. It is something that happens to you. It's a symptom. So please make sure that you identify, catch it young, catch it early, and take help. There is nothing wrong about reaching out, asking for support, and asking for a sense of understanding. So that is very, very dear to me, in terms of make sure that and creating that awareness, a sense of awareness about depression. Continuing what Sana left midway about suicide not being the solution. So I'm not as much as what she did, but just trying to follow her footsteps, continue what she has left off. So thank you for hearing me out on that.
Yeah, so that's lovely. So, what you're saying is that uh, within the hobbies or passions, you can always connect it to a purpose.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, and that gives, I think, a greater meaning to your life.
Yes.
That you've been able to touch somebody's life, help out someone, and maybe that little story or a little gesture or a little talk from you can actually help somebody come out of the tough times they're dealing with. So, passion with a purpose. What do you say, Deepika? How do you relate to this?
Sorry, could you say that again, please?
Passion with a purpose, that your hobbies may not end at the hobby level itself. It may actually inspire somebody in some different ways.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I can't. Maybe theater is one hobby that I can think of that I have, which has a purpose. But for me, I think my purpose comes in, and I can't call it a hobby, because learning and development is not a hobby. It's very much my profession, but it has a purpose. And I can tell you where it started. And this, I don't know, this might help. So, we are using the term hobby, but for me, my curiosity about people as a young girl, I used to sit and stare. So as you can see, everybody here can see I'm quite a talkative person, and I'm quite high energy, right? So when a talkative person sits quietly, it raises anxiety in the minds of the people watching that person. But as a young girl, I often used to sit very quietly and stare at people, and I used to get reprimanded reprimanded for staring, but I was not actually staring at them to make them uncomfortable. But I used to love to just observe large gatherings, just sit right in the middle and observe and listen to what people are saying and make my assessments about them. And this turn and I used to make an intuitive assessment and then share it with my parents and say, this is what I think about this situation. And of course I would always be told that I'm a child and I don't know much. Not always, but I'm being unkind to them. But you tend to say that, but you know what, this skill is something that I revived when I started being a corporate trainer. I didn't know, it was by chance, it was completely by accident that I went into learning and development. But I realized that it was that same, I can't call it a hobby, right? I don't know, spacing out and observing people, just sitting and observing people, that came in handy for me as a learning and development person, both in training as well as in coaching, to pick up on the smaller nuances of things. So you never know, right? And that is a purpose. Enabling people is a purpose that I have.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. So let me just take a question from the viewers, and this is a very, very pertinent question, which just gives some type of let's find some solutions for this. How do we wean children away from gadget addiction? So let's connect it to the topic in terms of suppose you want them to play outside or pick up some hobby, paint, and the child keeps saying, no, I want to play my game on the mobile, or just give a few tips how you feel that this problem can be solved. And it's a universal problem, and I won't say it's only the kids. I think even grandparents, kids, adults, grandparents, everyone is addicted, and we need to find some way. So think of some short tips which you can give on this.
I think the first is what you said, to ask yourself that first, can you wean yourself off the gadget? Consider that child or individual and do something with them, which is not gadget related, like paint something, cook something, involve them in the cooking.
Very true. Be there. Be there yourself. Be there yourself. Yes. Do it along with them, and that's the best way. Then they can't say no.
Yeah.
What do you say, Bama?
I'm thinking, because like you said, it's not just the children who are addicted to gadgets. We are also addicted to them, in a way. But how do you really wean? I just feel there is always the carrot and stick that works for anything to be done. So for you, it's for children. If it is youth that we are talking about, it is always good that you keep them some reward in case of certain amount of deprivation. And also, like Deepika mentioned, is like involve them in the adult activities. Yes. Do not say that this coming onto the gas or making you'll make a mess of the kitchen. Involve them and get them to let them make the mess of the kitchen, and then come and be a part of what you do. And
any physical activity, household activities.
Involve them. Also give them responsibilities at a very young age.
And maybe even timings, laying down timings that, okay, this is a time you can use and this is a time you can switch off. So maybe the timings itself can help. Timetable, actually, children are used to the idea of timetable because that's how they work. Maybe creating a timetable actually helps. That's what I used to do. So we used to have a fixed timing. That time, of course, all these gadgets are not there when my daughter was young.
We used to only have TV time.
Cable TV. It was cable TV, Tom and Jerry and Flintstones. That's what she used to watch. So we used to have a timing that, okay, you can watch during this time. So select which program you want to watch. So she said, okay, 2 hours. These are the programs I would like to watch during those 2 hours. So that's how it worked.
So sorry. Yeah, Deepika, go on.
I was saying that, today's cell phone gadget or iPad gadget addiction, we look at it as a separate thing. But if you go back a little bit to, let's say, our childhood, the television was also a gadget, right? And there was this whole discussion about the idiot box. Yes. And I think what worked then would work well now also, which is that, one is, like you said, set a timetable. The other is that so we often misunderstand that maybe children need special activities of their own and they want to do children-like activities. Actually, children want to be treated as adults. Yeah. So if you can lure them to participate with you as an adult, I think, in activities, I think that could be a huge trick. It always worked for me.
Right, right. So
Right.
what these people in the marketing have done is the idiot box, they've renamed it into smartphone. So that's why it's got elevated because of that, and now it's got a kind of a different perspective. So let's just take a few comments from our users, from our viewers. Thank you for being there. If you have any question suggestions, please keep them flowing. Please bring more content on Instagram. Few of my colleagues unable to join live stream here. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for the session. We'll do some programs on Instagram as well. That's so true. Don't judge and say shake it off. Depression is a deep-rooted issue, needs to be handled with maturity. That's so nice. That's very correct. Sangeeta says, great initiative, Bama, about your suicide prevention program. When passion becomes one's mission, then it becomes a way of life. So they live their purpose. So true.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Iyer says, nice of you, Col Riyaz Khan, to bring out the gem of the talented people. So that's for you, the two talented people I have on my show. The
Thanks.
solution
And
is
for
to
you,
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Solution is to leave aside the phone yourself when you get home from work and engage with the kids in quality ways. Very true. Very true. So you can't be on the phone and say, keep taking oh, children, get off the phone.
Don't use the phone.
Okay.
So
So
I just had one quick thought on this one, if you may
yes.
allow. So what I don't know if it works with everyone or not, but early on, like I've given a ration in terms of like you have about 1.5 hours of your digital media time for my daughter,
Yes.
and then also there is a lot of amount of trust that you build
Yes.
in your children, that they are not going to misuse your trust.
Yeah.
So when you put them on that responsibility, that it is your time, you focus, you do what you want to do. So there has to be at least 1 hour of physical activity. You choose what activity you want to do. There is going to be 1 hour of your digital access, whether it is TV, mobile, whether it is doing any of those activities. Choose your activity, like you said, choose your channel, choose your program, what you want to watch, or anything, and then trust them
Yeah.
to do it. If they waver, then have that point system, or like, okay, you exceeded your time today, so let me just take this back and then give it back. So that kind of thing, luckily for me, I'm blessed. It worked with my daughter, and I think she is far more responsible in terms of managing her time among the gadget usage, and also with her physical activities and other academics.
Right. Right. So
So,
as we are going towards a closing, just I would
yeah.
like to mention regarding the underestimation of children's capabilities. We adults tend to do that. I'd just like to
Mm.
give an example of Greta Thunberg, who was in her eighth class, and she used to sit outside, on the road, talking about climate change, and the whole world knows her today. Uh,
Mm.
so children do have a lot of thought process which can be quite mature in many ways. So the parents definitely should help them to bring out their passions, their hobbies, and help them discover themselves instead of losing themselves in the world which they're going.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
let's come on to our closing thoughts. Deepika, yeah, you got to
yes,
say something.
I had made Wilson Rajan, who made some comments earlier on. He had made a comment about exposing, children to outdoor activities, and like I said earlier on, and in my write up, we can call it hobbies or activities. Basically what it does is gives the mind a change. All these things are
Yes,
to give the mind a bit of change, to slow it down, to step back, come back with a new perspective to whatever you're doing, right? These are the various purposes. And one of the things I do want to reiterate about what he said is, uh, incorporating hobbies into your life requires you to make time away from the rat race.
yeah,
It means you need to slow down. And there is no better way to teach anyone that than to send them out into nature. And
Yeah.
we underestimate the power of going out, and we call it spacing out, or don't stare into space, don't daydream. But the power, the regenerative power of that for the brain, right? Just watching a leaf slowly fall from the tree to the ground,
Yeah.
just doing something as inane as going on a hill and looking for acorns, collecting the acorns, or watching the squirrels go up and down. We underestimate the value of the regenerative power of all of this, often for the brain. And that's a thought. We can't create a sustainable planet unless we create a sustainable lives for ourselves, and a rat race is not a sustainable life, which is where hobbies
That's so
come in. That's
nice. So nice to hear. So, any closing thoughts? Let's talk about that. Any closing thoughts, Bama? What are your two, three key points which you would like to convey?
So one thing I would like to share is not just directly from me, because I just checked with my daughter that, as student, as youth, as a teenager, what is it that you would like to hear? Is it don't go and preach about, how we should live our life and all that. Please don't do that. And what she told us, okay, what would you like to hear? Then she said, just tell us that, pursue one thing which makes you wake up every day, which makes you look forward to the day, which is really impactful, I felt. And I felt that that is something that I'm going to share with everybody. Find out, try, experiment, explore, do your thing. You may be, you really don't know at this age whether what is the thing that you really like or you're passionate about. But be willing to experiment, and then find that one thing which makes you wake up every day morning and look forward to the day ahead. And that is something that I just want to share. And one more thing I just want to wrap up with this quote is that one thing that you have with you today is you. Please don't
Yeah,
forget that.
so
and
true.
and please don't forget that your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. And find that.
And so you
Introspect.
have to keep yourself recharged
Yes, so don't
every
forget
day.
that. Yeah, in the rat race.
Yeah,
So yeah, thanks a lot for hearing us.
great. Yeah, Deepika, what are your closing thoughts?
uh well, just allow people, I allow people to be and do what they want. And you never know which activities, something as simple as, some people have a hobby of collecting stamps, some people collect buttons. You never know how something that you can't visualize will turn into something bigger. You never know how that happens. And the point is not even that it should turn into something bigger, but I think to just allow everyone to be like I think Bama said the same thing. Explore, explore, explore. And there is no one passion, is not singular. It could be, some people's passion could be discovering what else they can discover,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
very true.
like it is for
Let's
me. So yeah.
just take a few comments which have come from the viewers. Dr. Raj says, rejuvenating session. Thanks a ton, Riyaz, Bama, and Deepika. And we have one of my colleagues. Good evening. Thank you for being here. And Wilson Raja, kids once they interest their teens to be treated as friends. So keep aside your parent hat if you have teenagers at home. That's so true. Uh, and Iyer says set timings. Great idea. Thank you. So I think we have a lots and lots of ideas coming up in this session, and I'm sure we are going to have more of such sessions. But I think it's been a great session interacting with you, two wonderful people, and listening to your stories is so inspiring to me itself, and I'm sure to the audience who have been there throughout, posting their wonderful ideas, thoughts, and suggestions. And that is a message which we need to carry, that it's not a side dish, it's a part of main dish. All these hobbies and passions build our personality. They can be a pillar of strength. They can be a cushion in difficult times, and the part of our personality help us grow. And it whichever age you are, you need to relook, reboot, refresh, rejuvenate yourself. And hobbies and these passions are what keep us going. So thank you for being here. Thanks to all the viewers. Uh, we are going to have more of such sessions. And definitely, like I said, Unbox Youth Empowerment Initiative. I believe everyone is young, so anyone can benefit from these sessions. Thank you. Good night and have a nice day.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Riyaz and
you,
Deepika. It
Riaz,
was such a
and thank you to the L&D Global Chapter Hyderabad, to Unbox, and to you, Suma and Sabina, for putting this together. And thank you, Bama, for bringing your energy and this enthusiastic.
Thank you, Riyaz and Deepika. It was such a wonderful discussion that happened. A lot of secrets out. I don't know what's going to happen after the Facebook Live. And thank you, every viewer who has been supporting us and who's been rooting for us. Suma, Sabina, thanks a lot. LND Global Hyderabad chapter, and you all for bringing such a wonderful platform. I wish you many, many more successes. I wish everyone watching a lot of success in terms of finding passions in their lives and start living every day, not just existing. So thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you. Live every day, be happy every day. With that, we close the session. Thank you. Have a nice day. Good night.
Bye.